semester units. So once you have all that out of the way, you're ready to apply. Next slide, please. As soon as you graduate and complete the required classes, you should request for your official transcripts to be sent to the CPA. There are 3 ways you can get them to us. Number 1, you can request your transcripts to be mailed directly from your school or schools, if you've attended more than one, to the CPA. 2, you can obtain official sealed transcripts and mail them yourself along with your CPA exam application. Or 3, you can order an electronic transcript to be emailed to the CPA. This has to be done using a CPA approved provider, and CSU San Bernardino uses Credential Solutions to allow you to order your transcripts online. The CPA has a dedicated email address to send your transcripts, and that is cbatranscripts@cba.ca.gov. One important thing to take note of, you want to make sure that your degree has been conferred on the transcript. If you send it to us without the degree notated on the transcript, we'll have to ask you to send it again, and that will delay things just a little bit. This is one of the most common issues we find when reviewing applications. Education completed outside of the United States is acceptable, but it must be evaluated by a CPA-approved credential evaluation service. You don't send us the transcripts from foreign institutions. You can find the list of evaluation service providers on our website at the address you see here on the bottom of the slide. So after you request your transcripts or foreign education evaluations be sent to us, it's now time to create your very own online CPA client account. Let's go to the next slide, please. This client account will allow you to create your application remittance forms, which I'll talk more about in a moment, check the status of your exam application, and view your scores once you start taking the exam. Even though you will be creating your client account online, the application itself will still need to be printed, signed, and mailed to us, along with the application processing fee. These forms cannot be submitted electronically at this time. Once you have completed these steps, your job applying for the CPA exam is done. It's then up to us, the CPA, to help you get approved. When we receive all the required documents, we review your file to determine if you've met the requirements, which are, let's all say it together now, you remember, right? Bachelor's degree, 24 and 24, accounting units and business-related units. Very good, you're keeping up. Proud of you. Good job. If the CPA determines you've met all those requirements, then you're approved. Congratulations. You will receive an email notification with instructions on your next steps. If you don't meet the requirements just yet, we will email you to let you know what is missing, and then you can get to work on fixing it. Next slide, please. Once you're approved, now the real fun begins. Your client account will update to allow you to begin selecting your exam sections. Remember, there were the 4 sections we talked about earlier. And the order you take each section, that's completely up to you. Most candidates prefer to spread out the 4 sections to allow themselves plenty of study time and taking into consideration their work schedule and personal commitments. The CPA exam is offered continuously throughout the year. All right, so now I've got some acronyms for you. We love acronyms. Trust me, you'll know all these really well once the entire process is over for you. So the first is ATT, not the phone service, no, it's authorization to test. So when you select which section or sections you want to take first, the CPA sends an ATT to NASBA, which is the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. You'll get to know NASBA really well also. Once NASBA receives your ATT, it will issue you a payment coupon. No acronym for that one. The payment coupon is good for 90 days, so make sure to submit your exam section fees to NASBA during that time. It's important to know, remember this, once you've paid the section fees, you can't change your mind and add or remove sections. So if you need to make any changes, you must request them to the CPA before you pay the fees to NASBA. and of course, prior to the expiration date of your payment coupon. Once NASBA receives your payment, it will issue you, another acronym coming, an NTS, which is Notice to Schedule. Each NTS is valid for 9 months. So you must schedule and sit for your selected sections within this 9-month period. Make sure your NTS matches the spelling of your name on your identification cards you plan to bring with you to the testing center. We don't want you to be denied entrance, of course. If your information is not shown correctly, please let us know right away and we will get that fixed. Next slide, please. Okay, now it's time to get serious about preparing for your CPA exam. An all-night caffeine-filled cram session, not recommended in studying for the exam. Not that I'm suggesting any of you would ever do that, but I know I did that a few times in my college career. There is definitely help out there, though, to assist you in preparing for the CPA exam. So the exam is written by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, that's AICPA. On their website, AICPA provides lots of great resources. CPA exam blueprints, where you can learn about the specific topics tested in each section. You can also find sample tests, sample CPA exams, and tutorial topics that will help you prepare and hopefully pass the CPA exam. So these are definitely big helps, which I hope you will take advantage of. Next slide, please. When you are ready to schedule your exams, it'll be time to get to know a company by the name of Prometric. So Prometric operates testing centers all around the world, and they will be the ones administering the CPA exam to you. You will schedule your exam section by using Prometric's online scheduling tool on their website or by contacting them over the phone. Prometric testing centers are normally open 6 days a week. The CPA does allow you to test at any of Prometric's locations in the United States, District of Columbia, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Guam. It is even possible to test outside of these areas, as the CPA participates in the NASBA AICPA I exam process, which does allow candidates to test in specified international Prometric testing centers. You can find information about I exam and testing internationally on NASBA's website at www.nasba.org. Once you've got your exams scheduled and the day arrives, here are a couple of tips for day of. Don't be nervous, you got this, you are prepared, right? You're ready. I highly recommend you arrive early, at least 30 minutes, probably 30 to 45 minutes before your appointment. That'll allow you plenty of time to find parking, locate the testing center. You never know how that's going to work out. And of course, complete the check-in process. Definitely don't want to feel rushed or stressed at all before such an important test. And don't forget to bring with you that NTS and your valid identification. Without those, you will not be allowed to test. And guess what? You will lose those exam fees that you've already paid. So we don't want that. Next slide, please. All right. Congratulations, you took your exam. You feel pretty good about how you did thanks to all that wonderful study time you put in. But the important question, when do I get my score? How long do you have to wait to find out if you passed? All right, so here's how that works. So look at the dates on the slide here. So based on those dates, if you took the exam today, you would expect to receive your score on May 25th. You can view all the target score release dates on the AICPA website. It's generally less than a month. It could be as quick as just a week or two. You will find your score in your online client account once it gets posted on that target date. NASBA releases everyone's scores to the CPA, and then our computers automatically upload yours into your account, generally that night, the night of your target date. For security reasons, scores cannot be released via email or telephone. Score of 75 or higher, and you pass. Nice job. I knew you could do it. Like I mentioned before, in order to pass the entire CPA exam, you will need to pass all 4 sections within an 18-month period. The date you pass your first section starts the clock on this 18-month period. If one of your exam credits expires prior to passing all 4 parts, then you will need to retake that section. When you have passed the CPA exam, we'll send you a congratulatory letter with information on what you'll need to do next to obtain a California CPA license. When you are ready to apply for your California CPA license, there are some additional requirements to meet. But before I turn it over to Ramona to discuss that process, I would like to tell you a little bit about the 2024 CPA exam and the changes that are coming. Next slide, please. So, as mentioned earlier, the CPA exam will be undergoing changes that are expected to launch in January of 2024. The 2024 CPA exam is not yet finalized, although there is an event scheduled in June where it is anticipated that some of the new curriculum will be unveiled. For now, I just want you to be aware the changes are coming, since you are the future of the accounting profession and may actually be taking the new version of the exam, depending on how close you are to graduating. So the coming changes are referred to as CPA Evolution. The CPA Evolution initiative is a joint effort of NASBA and AICPA. We learned about them earlier, and it's aimed at transforming the overall licensure model to focus more on the rapidly changing technological skills and competencies the accounting practice requires today and will require in the future. More details on that in just a moment. But along with NASBA and AICPA, state CPA societies, state boards of accountancy, academia, firms of all sizes, and CPAs in all areas of practice from all across the country are vital partners in helping to prepare this CPA evolution. It's pretty exciting. It really is a collaborative effort. Their collaboration and support in implementing the new CPA licensure model will help the profession remain strong and relevant for your time in the industry, while continuing to protect the public interest in a constantly changing business environment. Next slide, please. In addition to the changes to the CPA exam itself, there will be changes happening to the licensure model as well. NASBA and AICPA are moving forward with a core plus discipline licensure model. The CPA exam will continue to test candidates' competencies in accounting, auditing, and tax. However, in addition to those three core areas, candidates will be expected to demonstrate more in-depth knowledge in one of these proposed technological areas: business reporting and analysis, information systems and controls, and tax compliance and planning. So this new model will help enhance public protection by producing candidates who have the deep knowledge necessary to perform high-quality work. It aims to be adaptive and flexible to future-proof the CPA as a profession as it evolves. And regardless of whichever discipline the candidate may choose, there will be only one CPA license. So a candidate's chosen discipline does not mean the CPA is limited to that practice area. For more information about CPA Evolution and the proposed changes to the exam, you can visit the CPA Evolution website at evolutionofcpa.org. They do update that page from time to time when new information is provided, especially after June when we're going to learn more about that. So please check back in on that every now and then. Okay, thank you so much for your attention, everyone. I hope you feel a little more comfortable now with what to expect with the CPA exam, and I wish you the best of luck for lots of passing scores. And don't forget, keep those questions coming in because we will get to all of your questions soon. I know you probably have some of them spinning around in your minds right now. So I would now like to turn it over to Ramona Bermudez to provide an overview of the licensing requirements and application process. So Ramona, take it away.
Thank you, David. You're a tough act to follow. Very nice. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight and spending your precious time to join us today. My name is Ramona Bermudez, and I am the Initial Licensing Unit Manager with the CBA. I'm very honored and happy to be here to discuss the licensing requirements and application process to obtain your CPA license. As you prepare to apply for licensure, it is important that you ensure that all necessary requirements are met in order to have as smooth an experience as possible. When you qualify to sit for the CPA exam, you likely already met most, if not all, of the education requirements to obtain your license. The additional education we'll be looking for is 20 semester units of accounting study and 10 semester units of ethics study, 3 semester units of which must be in a course in accounting ethics or accounting's professional responsibilities, and a minimum of 150 total semester units. Next slide, please. You will also need to complete a minimum of 1 year of general accounting experience under the supervision of an actively licensed CPA. When accepting job offers, it is best to inform your employer of your intent to pursue a CPA license to ensure that they are eligible to sign off on your experience. Very important. It is a good idea to have your experience form signed and submitted to the CPA as you earn it, regardless of whether you're ready to apply or not. Applicants and supervisors may change jobs or relocate, and it is sometimes difficult to locate your signer at a later date. We do run into this often, so it's a good idea to definitely keep that information with you. Completion of the general accounting experience requirement will allow you to perform all of the services of a CPA, with the exception of signing reports on and test engagements, which includes planning audits, preparing work papers, and preparing full disclosure financial statements. If you want to sign reports on attest engagements, you will also need to complete a minimum of 500 work hours in attest functions under the supervision of a licensed CPA who is authorized to sign reports on attest engagements. Next slide, please. There are a couple of other items that you must satisfy in order to obtain licensure. Completion of the California-specific Professional Ethics Examination, or PET, administered online by the California Society of CPAs, or otherwise known as CalCPA. Upon successful completion of the PET, CalCPA will send your score to the CPA electronically. Your test results for the PET exam are valid for 2 years. If your application is not submitted within 24 months, you will have to take it again. You will also need to submit fingerprints as part of the criminal background history check. Authorization and information on how to complete this will be provided after we are in receipt of your CPA application. Next slide, please. An exciting improvement at the CPA was made recently, and it is the introduction of our online application for the CPA licensure. You can now submit your CPA application and pay the processing fee with a credit card entirely online. Kind of like when you shop at Amazon. Previously, you had to mail in a paper application with check or a money order, so this is definitely an upgrade for our applicants. The paper application is still available if you absolutely love making trips to the post office. And sometimes we do that. But when submitting your application, be sure to include an email address so that we can notify you sooner if there is anything needed to complete your file. Very important. Once the CPA has received your application and fee, you will receive an acknowledgement email including the authorization and instructions about obtaining fingerprints. Live scan forms and fingerprint cards will be provided to you by the CPA. CPA staff will review the application and notify you of the outcome. If an application is approved for licensure, the CPA will provide you with an approval notification and instructions to submit your initial license fee if you didn't do it already in the online application. If an application is not approved for licensure, you will be sent a letter advising on what is outstanding. Next slide, please. You should have been provided links to the additional tools that will help you during the application process for either the CPA exam or the CPA license. These tools are available also on our CPA website. We have a self-assessment worksheet that will help you check and track your classes and plan for any future education that you might need. There's also an education tip sheet that breaks down the requirements and will help you determine where a particular course may qualify. Next slide, please. There is a wealth of information available on our website that explains the requirements to qualify and that will assist you in preparing for and taking the CPA exam as well as navigating the initial licensure process. In our applicant section, you will find the online applications and links to various forms and the Uniform CPA Examination Handbook, as well as the Licensing Application Handbook. Additionally, the CPA maintains a series of frequently asked questions that will assist you in understanding the requirements to qualify for licensure. Next slide, please. The CPA offers licensure assistance programs for past and present military personnel and their spouses, domestic partners, as well as refugees, asylees, and special immigrant visa holders. The CPA has a dedicated military refugee liaison who's outstanding. Her name is Jennifer Jackson, and she can't wait to assist you. She's very helpful and very knowledgeable. For more information, you can visit the military refugee section of our webpage, which can be accessed from the tab that you see here, circled on the homepage. Next slide, please. If at any time during your application process, the CPA can be of any assistance, we have dedicated staff available every step of the way. We understand the time and the commitment that you make when you are pursuing your CPA license, and we want to make the process as seamless, as smooth as possible for you. We encourage you to connect with us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and sign up for email updates as well. This will help you stay informed of the developments at the CPA. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. Again, it was my pleasure. Now I have Ms. Jackson and Mrs. Huddy that are here and happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
So we do have quite a few questions in the chat. We can go ahead and start with the first one. So we have a student asking, hello, I am a non-immigrant international student. I really want to be a CPA licensure. Is it possible? Because I do not have any social security number. Currently, I am a freshman in accounting major.
So from the exam standpoint, a social security number is not required to apply for or take the examination. Huddy, do you want to answer on the licensing side?
Absolutely, thank you. So for a license, we do require either a social security number or an individual taxpayer identification number, and both of those can be obtained from the Social Security Administration. I recommend that you look into the requirements to obtain either one of those types of numbers. You can apply for your license, but we won't issue it until you have your social security number or individual taxpayer ID number.
So we have another question. Do you recommend getting an internship to gain some experience before taking the exam?
As far as internships go, if you're working under an actively licensed CPA, whether at a CPA firm or in private industry or government, it could be helpful for you to take the exam, but the most important thing about your internship is that if your supervisor is an active licensed CPA, you can use that experience to qualify for licensure. So it's really kind of a personal decision about whether to get an internship before you take the exam. There's a lot of good resources here today with CalCPA and your professors and the faculty here. They're all very knowledgeable, and they can probably shed a little bit more light on this with their experience.
So we have another question. My CPA eligibility date is May 2023. I am wondering if I will be taking the current or new version of CPA exam. Thank you.
The new version of the exam won't happen until 2024. So if you are at that crossover, you may be taking both. However, you won't lose any eligibility. You won't lose your scores during that transition.
We also have another question. What other ways are we able to prepare for the exam?
I know President has always made a comment that when you're fresh out of school, you're the most knowledgeable, you have all that information in your head. So Depending on the type of student you are, it might be helpful to take that exam right out of school. The AICPA is very helpful because they have an exam overview that you can review where you can watch tutorials. They have sample tests, topics that will be addressed in each section of the exam as some of the helpful tools for studying for that exam.
I might add to that that there are review courses, Becker Review. There are a variety of them that you can consider taking. You pay for those, you know, as one item of cost, but sometimes those organizations offer scholarships as well. And I know on, I think it's NASBA's website, there's a place to apply for scholarships for that purpose as well. So as Jennifer just mentioned, take the exam as soon as you can after you complete your education, you're ready. That's when the information will be, fresh in your mind, and you will actually perform better than waiting or putting it off or being overly nervous about it.
Thank you, Nancy. So we have another question. If we pass a section or multiple sections of the exam before the CPA exam is updated, will the update affect the scores we have already obtained?
No, I sort of answered that in one of the prior questions. Anything that you've earned, you will not lose. Any sections passed will not be dropped unless you're outside of that 18-month period.
Okay, so we have another one. I have heard some jobs helping to pay for CPA costs or reimburse you. Is that recommended?
I am not familiar with this topic.
I can try to answer that. What you negotiate with an employer is kind of between you and that employer. Employers are offering all kinds of benefits to hire, well-educated, talented future CPAs. And if that is something that they negotiate and that is a trend within their firm, there is certainly nothing wrong with that. That just means that they're encouraging you, take the exam, get it behind you, and come to work. And so that's a real benefit if firms are offering and companies are offering that. And I understand many are, and you should strongly consider it.
Great, Nancy. That's exactly what I typed in to the chat. So we concur.
Thank you. So we have another question. I believe this one is from Professor Dorakak. Could someone please address further at some point the current planning regarding the evolution of the CPA exam?
I can also tackle that one for right now. I know that NASBA and the AICPA are jointly working on the process, and they have some task force, some other groups working toward that. And when they start having results, I believe that they're going to put it out there to the various universities because college and university programs have to also coincide. So it's a gigantic project that is underway, and professors, faculty, you can find information on that. I don't have the reference at hand. David, maybe we can provide that, but there is a site, I believe on NASBA's website about the CPA exam evolution, if you would maybe later provide that. Thank you.
I'll type it into the chat for everyone.
David. So another question, should we be working while taking the CPA exam? And a follow-up question to that, can't we take the CPA exam after graduation without having work experience?
Working while taking the examination sections is a personal choice. We don't have a recommendation one over the other. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
She says, can't we take the CPA exam after graduation without having work experience?
Yes, the only requirements needed in order to take the examination is the conferral of a minimum of your bachelor's and then the 24-24 in accounting and business. Work experience is not necessary for the CPA exam portion.
Yeah, and Nancy also addressed the piece of that question where she said that if you do take the exam, it will be seen as a benefit to that employer that you're trying to get that job with if you've already passed the exam. you have one leg up. You just need to get the experience.
Thank you. So another question, most jobs require experience or a couple of years of experience as we work for our degree. What are some jobs that are good to get experience at? I think they mean like entry-level positions.
I don't mind trying to take that, Professor Wilson or Maya, you might want to type in. I think if you can get an internship in bookkeeping and tax, anything that, I remember my first job that I got, I was a receptionist actually at a doctor's office, and his bookkeeper let me prepare the bank reconciliations. That was like the first thing I learned professionally to do in accounting. And she worked with me to do that. So, just kind of, if you can get an internship, kind of seek out networks, seek out companies that are hiring interns who might need some summer help. I know when I had my firm last year, I just joined a national firm a year ago, but I hired my interns, and actually one of them graduated from Cal State San Bernardino, and she was just hired full-time with the new national company that I work for. So if you can get an internship and start building those relationships early, it does help.
I completely agree with Kathy. And I also want to add that there's a question, what is considered experience? Anything is considered experience. And it's not just when we hire students, yeah, we would like somebody to have some bookkeeping experience or some accounting experience, but any job where you do customer service is also important, because public accounting nowadays is not just numbers. It is also working with your clients, doing consulting, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to write. So we look for anybody who worked their way through college in some job and can sell themselves to us on why they could be a great asset and addition to our firm. So it's not just, I got experience doing bookkeeping. If you were a barista at Starbucks, tell me why you're the best barista at Starbucks and how that will turn into a great employee for me. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'm going to second that. We actually hired 2 years ago a lady who her experience was a barista at Starbucks, and she's been excellent. Starbucks is known for having very customer service centric training, and it was a huge benefit for her that we were able to leverage. Just because mixing drinks didn't use accounting numbers, it's still been very, very useful experience. So I just completely want to second what Matt and Kathy said. Any experience is good experience. Customer service facing is really helpful as well.
Thank you. So we have another question. If I plan to work in the tax department and won't have experience in auditing, will that affect my license in any way? Does it matter which department you get your experience with?
So if you have just general experience, you'll be issued a CPA license that allows you to perform the full range of functions, with the exception of signing reports on attest engagements. That doesn't mean you can't participate in audits if the opportunity arises. It just means that you won't be in charge of the audit and signing the opinion on the attesting engagement. But if you don't have the attest experience and you have a general license, you're still a full CPA. So there's just that one part that you can't do, which is signing attest reports. And that's actually something that you can convert later. If you're issued a general license, you can later complete the attest requirement of 500 hours and then ask the board to recognize that. And if you meet the requirement, we will convert your license and grant you the authority to sign attest reports.
Okay, so we have another question. As we obtain our CPA licensure, during the CPA evolution, do you recommend acquiring your CPA license before the drastic change in 2024? Do you think acquiring your license after 2024 will be more beneficial in your CPA career in the long run?
I'll jump in on that. I see Kathy shaking her head as well.
I was about to jump in too, but go for it.
Get your license as quickly as you can. It doesn't matter whether you pass it this year or in 2024 or in 2030, just get your license. That's what we want. Our clients expect us to have CPAs in our firm, and we need CPAs.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I can add something to that as well. Like we said, graduate, take the exam, get it behind you. The thing is, as you're going forward and staying current with professional standards and the current times, you're going to be getting that continuing education and training within the firm or the company where you're working. So don't delay, don't put it off. It'll all come together for you.
Thank you. So does CPA licensure need to be renewed after a period of time? Will it need to be renewed once the new exam is released?
So once you've been issued a CPA license, your license will expire every 2 years. And to maintain an active license, you are required to complete 80 hours of continuing education. You're also allowed to renew your license in inactive status if you don't want to complete the continuing education, but you can't practice with an inactive license. So there's a couple options available there. And once your license is issued, the release of the new exam really shouldn't have any effect on your ongoing licensure. You'll be taking continuing education and keeping yourself current on the current practice of public accountancy.
I just want to add something to that. Once you pass your exam, keep your license up to date. I mean, I am a prime example. I mean, I worked in business and industry, and I got my license in Texas, and then I got my license in California. But most of the time, my positions did not require me to have a CPA license. However, when the newspaper industry dove, because that's where I was, and I wanted to switch careers. I just wanted to do something different. I was able to teach at Cal State San Bernardino because I had kept my license up. And, you know, I had that license, and I had an MBA at the time. I also had a master's degree, but it wasn't like I had to go back and retake the exam or take all of these catch-up courses. I kept my license up so that I had options. So I would state that even if you work in business and industry, get that general license. You know, I did internal auditing, you know, get that license, and it does afford you a lot of opportunities. But once you go through all the trouble to get it, don't let it lapse. Keep it up. Just take that required CPE and keep up your skill set.
Thank you. So we have another question. Do I need to take additional 48 credits for the exam, or can we take more business and ethics classes in bachelor?
For the exam, we're specifically looking for 24 units in accounting and 24 units in business. If you have an excess of accounting courses, in excess of 24, we will apply that towards your business category, but not vice versa.
And this one kind of relates a little bit to the last question. For students who are in a program that receive their BA and master's at the same time, is an email okay explaining the program and that all units are met to take the exam?
So if the degree won't be conferred until the completion of the master's, if the BA isn't conferred until after the completion, we will accept a letter, an official letter from the registrar stating such. It'll say that the student is in good standings. It'll have a statement that the master's will be conferred upon completion. The bachelor's will be, conferred upon the completion of the master's. It'll require them to put the letter that the program will be completed, but not just a simple email coming in from a registrar. It will be an official letter on their letterhead.
What are some strong recommended sources to get a general sense of requirements and expectations of being a CPA in the sports industry, particularly in California?
I'll take a stab at it. I have never worked in the sports industry, but I believe that, you know, a CPA is a CPA. If they're looking for an accountant, if they're looking for a CPA to work in their accounting department, or, you know, any other area within the sports industry, your CPA license is your, I mean, that's your, you know, that's your qualifications to get in the door. But I have never worked, say, in the sports industry, although I am a big Dallas Cowboys fan, but they didn't give me a job, so.
Well, I will echo what Kathy said, and I too have not worked within the sports industry, had a client that was a sports team or something, but you could intern, you could become employed by one of the larger firms that very likely do handle all of those teams. And then eventually you could say, hey, I'm going to go out on my own or whatever, or join a company. But I think the exposure would have to be with a pretty large firm. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. What is considered experience? Is bookkeeping, accounts payable, or accounts receivable acceptable?
So I'll just read you straight from the law. General accounting experience may include providing any type of service or advice involving the use of accounting, attest, compilation, management advisory, financial advisory, tax, or consulting skills. And in order to qualify, the experience needs to have been performed in accordance with current applicable professional standards. So it's fairly broad.
Does the CBA accept units from community college?
Yes. As long as it is an accredited institution, community college, university, same education, earned credit.
What is and where do you take your continued education?
Well, a very
jump in.
big organization is online right now, CalCPA, and their education foundation. That's where I get my education, but they are part of a number of organizations that are on a list of sponsoring organizations that have been approved to provide continuing education. You want to be very careful about where you get that, because, what if I have something online, say, hey, you get 4 hours. If I'm not on that approved list, the hours don't count for anything. So CalCPA.
You're so salivary. I told Mom that she looks like the.
So CalCPA is a good start, and CalCPA and others on approved lists so that you get the adequate education that you need.
Thank you. So we have about 10 more minutes for Q&A. Matt, did you want to take over some of the questions?
Oh, you're doing a great job. You just keep going. I'll just chime in.
Okay.
Oh, you went to mute.
Oh, okay, here we go. What is the CPE?
That is continuing professional education, and that's that education that you need once you are licensed every 2 years in the month of for example, I was born in February. Every 2 years and even years, I renew my license by getting the appropriate continuing professional education.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that a little bit. Continuing education can look a lot of different ways. So occasionally there's a topic that I really want to deep dive into. I want to learn more. And so I'll take an 8-hour course from the Ed Foundation from CalCPA, right? So we'll spend 8 hours and we'll talk about real estate taxation. Other times there's this past year, right? There's been so much going on with COVID-19 and all the economic plans that have come out from the government. I take a lot of 1 or 2 hour courses that give me an idea of where I need to go on shorter topics, on smaller topics. So it can look a lot of different ways. Sometimes before COVID, we could go in person. We could spend a day in the classroom. You generally, if it's an 8-hour course, you get some kind of rubber chicken for lunch, and it's kind of a bonding experience for all that go. And a lot of what I do might be online courses. It might look kind of similar to this. There's going to be someone speaking of the topic and providing details on that. And just the CBAs here, I still have 27 days to submit my renewal for this month. So just, don't come after me yet.
No pressure. Another thing on the continuing education, and one of the most exciting things about the accounting profession is, some of you have said, well, what if I want to do sports? I guarantee you that if you're big into sports and you want to go work for a firm that does sports accounting, or you want to go work for an entertainment company, there is continuing education that's just geared towards those industries that you can learn a lot of information about. If you like IT, there's cybersecurity CE that's available that fits with your license. There has to be criteria, again, like Nancy was saying, but through Board of Account or through CalCPA or the AICPA, there are just tons, hundreds of different classes you can take to fit a niche that you're interested in. And you're going to hear a little bit later on that, you know, Katie's not just a CPA, but she's got a couple of other certificates behind her name as well. And so she takes specialized CPE that goes with her certificates as well. So it's not just the accounting or the auditing or the tax, but it's other things too. So a huge amount of opportunities out there in many different industries. There's always something that you can be interested in, and there's always going to be CPE that will help you learn and understand the accounting and the rules behind that industry.
Thank you. So we have Amy Law with Becker here, and she says she has a lot of students with questions on transferring their units. If the students took a class worth 5 units at a community college, but the CSU counted it as 3 units, would it be 5 units or 3 units?
So this is a good example of why we encourage students who have attended multiple institutions, regardless of whether the units from one institution were transferred to another. We encourage you to send all of your transcripts to us, because we will, if in this case, if we have the community college transcript showing 5 units, but your university only counted it as 3 units, we will err on the side of giving you the 5 units, because you have that transcript from the community college. So it's not a requirement to send all your transcripts, but we do strongly encourage it.
Thank you.
Can I bring up a point on that too? If you're not sure if your units qualify, you can send your transcripts to the Board of Accountancy, and they will help you understand what they've got. A great cheat sheet on their website that shows what the classes are that do qualify. But if you're not sure, they're there to help you, and you can send your transcripts to them, and they will help you understand which does and doesn't qualify and where you are in that process. So use the people on this email as somebody to reach out to. Sorry, Nancy, just gave you more work. But use these people to help you make sure you have what you need for your license. It's extremely important that you don't get to the finish line and find out you've got to go back and take another economics class or something to fill in the units. So.
How long can you wait after the exam to get your license?
Once you pass all 4 parts of the CPA exam, your scores do not expire. So you can wait to apply for a license whenever it works for you. Just keep in mind that when you do submit your application, you need to meet the requirements in place at that time.
Thank you. So Amy says another common question she gets from students is the AP classes they took in high school, such as statistics, would that count towards the 24 units in business-related subject?
If the transcript itemizes the AP courses and it shows that you took a statistics course and breaks down the number of units that were accepted as AP statistics, then we would accept that as business. But a lot of schools just show a chunk of AP 24 units, and we don't know what types of courses you took. We can use that 24 units as to reach your overall total when we're looking toward 150. But if we're looking for subject-specific AP, they need to itemize and show how many units were awarded for each course.
We guarantee to get a job as an accountant somewhere. If you want a career, get your license. You know, there are lots of people that are looking for people with an accounting degree, but if you want a long-term career, if you're looking for more than past the next 5 years, get that license. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. And so you don't want to lose that learning that you have. So that's what I tell students. If you want a job, get your accounting degree. You're most likely going to get a job in accounting if you need one. If you want a long-term career, go out and seek and get that exam, get that license, take that exam, pass it.
Thank you. Any advice on not getting discouraged if we don't pass on the first try, or when did you feel ready to take the test?
I can jump in on this one. Don't ever get discouraged. So if you have your heart set on being a CPA, I know people that have taken each part 4 times or 5 times, and they've done it over a period of a very long time, but they knew from the very beginning that they're going to be CPAs, and they became CPAs against all of the odds of discouragement and giving up. And not everybody is a good test taker. I'll tell you that I know plenty of brilliant accountants that do not score well on the CPA exam. And also I know plenty of people that are not good accountants, but pass all 4 parts at the first sitting. So don't think badly of yourself. Just keep trying until you get a hang of it. Make sure you get a reputable review course. There's some people that are able to get by, especially the good test takers, with very minimal studying, but there's people that need a good course, and if you follow the guidance and put in the work, you'll most likely pass.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, you know, like I said, don't ever get discouraged. You know, look at the letters behind my name. They say CPA. Do they tell you how many times I had to sit for each section? No one knows. No one cares, right? The point is that you get it done. As far as your question, you know, how do you know when you were ready? You know, how did you feel comfortable? I will tell you, you know, you have to put in the time. I happen to be a very good test taker, and I still studied over 100 hours for each exam. You just have to put in the time. To be honest, though, feeling ready, the worst I usually felt prepared, the better I seemed to do on the exam. And I think a lot of that has to do is because you realize, you know, the exams are very bulky, right? There's a lot of material. Most of it's not extremely complicated. Most of it's not extremely in depth. There's just a lot to it. And so when I felt like, oh man, I don't know if I know enough, it's because I actually knew a lot of different things. And so, don't, if it's the day before your test and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You've already paid for it. So go no matter what, give it your best shot, especially that first time. You know, you'll feel so much better after just sitting for the exam, whether you pass or not, because it'll really help you get comfortable with going to the site, checking in, what's the room feel like. Once you get past that, you know, that will help a lot. But don't ever get discouraged. I promise you can pass the exam, and how many times it takes you to pass it has no bearing on, you know, whether you're a good accountant or not.
I just echo what Katie just said. And I just real quickly, when I took the CFF exam, I'm a certified financial forensic. But when I took that exam, I came back to my then partner and I said, oh my gosh, that was so hard. And then, you know, when I got my letter back that I had passed, she went, I knew you passed because you said it was really hard. If you thought it was easy, you probably didn't do very well in it.
Okay, just for the record, you are talking to 3 of the smartest women I know. So their success in the exam, you know, just take it with a grain of salt, okay? I'm sure they all passed it the first time with high marks. You know, me, I was part of the 300 club, and anybody that's a CPA can explain the 300 club to you, so.
Well, thank you, guys. So I think that's all we have time right now for the Q&A. I'm going to hand it back over to Maya from the Inland Empire chapter of CalCPA. Maya, take it away.
Am I answering more questions, or?
We're gonna jump into our questions, Maya. So we have with us today Maya Ivanova and Katie Vanderveen. They're both Cal State San Bernardino graduates and partners with local accounting firms, which is very exciting. They're both highly successful in their careers and also their commitment to the university and to CalCPA. And so why don't each one of you take a really quick 1-minute talk about yourself and what's been the most rewarding experience of your professional career. Okay,
go ahead,
Katie first.
I will go first. So I've actually thought about this question a lot today since you emailed it to me, Matt. And I don't know if I can pick one experience that's been rewarding, really, because I feel like the entire career is really rewarding. I grew up and I always wanted to help people, but I was kind of squeamish. So like doctor was out, not going to happen. But so I looked at what am I good at? What do I do well? Well, I was really comfortable with numbers and thinking through problems and figuring out puzzles. And so my career allows me to use what I'm good at to help others, to navigate a tax code that is if you've ever seen it printed, is just way too long. It's 5 times more than anything really should be in order to be useful. But even just, while I found my whole career very rewarding, even something that just happened in the last week, I have clients that I've been working with that the company they worked for was being sold, and they wanted my help to figure out, should we renegotiate our contract? Should we change things? What should we do? And it ended up that they're really not liking the way things are going with the new owners. And so we were able to actually connect them with other people in their industries that might get them other opportunities to work. That had nothing to do with accounting, right? I wasn't telling them debits and credits. We weren't even looking at numbers. But the relationships that I have with my client, the relationships we have with other clients, help them make a connection that can completely change their career. And to me, that's extremely rewarding. It's very exciting. I'm super excited for them. And it makes me feel good.
Maya, same question?
All right, Maya Ivanova. I'm a partner with Wilson Ivanova. So nice to have all of you here. Again, much like Katie, the whole journey has been, of course it has had ups and downs and has good moments and bad moments. But for the most part, there have been so many amazing things that have happened in my career from the time that I got licensed, which I was in the rush for from the moment I graduated school. And I actually passed the exam before I got my master's degree from Cal State San Bernardino. But opening our own firm with Matt Wilson has been probably the biggest highlight of my career, and being able to start something from nothing. And we're up to 23 people today, and we provide a lot of opportunities for young professionals to develop their careers. We have a lot of opportunities to solve a lot of problems for our clients, work really closely with them. Much like Katie, I'm involved in 2 merger and acquisitions just going right at the same time, both in manufacturing and just watching some of our clients achieve their goals, get really good sales price, and walk into retirement with a huge chunk of cash. It's really rewarding.
Excellent. So Katie, congratulations on being the current president of the Inland Empire Chapter CalCPA, day 4, correct? Day 4.
Mm-hmm.
That has been a long time coming. You've worked your way through the ranks. One of the things that we're trying to do in the profession is involve students. What do you see in your tenure as president over the next 12 months? How are you going to get more students involved in CalCPA, and how important is it to them to get involved in CalCPA in your eyes?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited for my year coming up with CalCPA and the Inland Empire Chapter as president. And I really want to make a push towards getting students involved. I was involved in CalCPA as a student, and the connections that you can make really help you in the long term. I know a lot of the people we've hired at our firm over the last 10 years, we made a connection with through CalCPA before they ever went through the interview process, right? Before we ever had a Meet the Firms event. And so I actually just got the news today. We can officially start holding in-person events.
Yay.
August 1st, yay! We can see people again. I'm so excited. And so we definitely have some events that are on the calendar to get people out, get them together, get to see people. I think we'll also probably continue some of our virtual events, because that's been really useful in creating opportunities for people who are somewhat on the outside of the geography of the Inland Empire Chapter. It's a really, really big chapter. And so the virtual environment has helped kind of create additional opportunities for people to say, oh, I probably won't drive an hour and a half to that event, right? But sitting in and logging on a computer works out well. As far as students go, we have a couple events scheduled. We have our baseball event at the 66er Stadium is scheduled in September. That's a great event that I've attended a few times and always enjoyed. Now that we know we're allowed to have our in-person events, we'll definitely be calendaring new events for our, what we call like our Dave and Buster socials. Those are really, really fun events. And then as I think Claudia mentioned, Cal State San Bernardino is now at 100% CalCPA firm, which is just amazing. Excuse me, not firm, school. I believe it was the 4th or 5th one in the state to reach that status, which is really exciting. And so now that you guys are all officially in CalCPA, I just need you to open those emails. I know you probably get a lot of them. I do too, but open them up. There's going to be a lot of opportunities in there, especially the one that you should be getting in the next couple days, because you can see me on video. And I know that's what you were all waiting for. Definitely exciting.
So we talk a lot about CalCPA because of its importance to the profession, right? Much like Katie and Maya, I've been involved in CalCPA for a long time. I had hair when I joined CalCPA. It's been that long. Okay, Maya, how important has CalCPA been to your career?
So I've been involved with CalCPA since probably I was 1 or 2 years into public accounting. I was lucky to have really good mentors that were part of CalCPA early on and kind of introduced me to the society, introduced me to the Inland Empire chapter. And when I first met them, I could only dream of becoming a president of the chapter, you know, and right now I happen to sit on the board of directors of CalCPA, which is, I would have never imagined getting that far. But just developing those relationships in CalCPA has been instrumental to developing my career. I was able to sit on Leadership Institute on a local level, which was for young and emerging professionals. And then I was able to apply on a statewide level and get into the Leadership Institute, which again, it has helped me advance my career over the years. So I cannot stress enough how important it is for all the students to become members, active members of CalCPA, attend virtual events, follow all the posts of CalCPA, follow the Inland Empire chapter, and get involved when you can.
Awesome, thank you. Katie, back to you real quick. So we know you're a partner, but you didn't tell us where you are a partner. So that's first thing. I want you to tell everybody where you're a partner. And when you hire a new student, what do you do to get them from, I've got a great education, I'm really book smart, but I've never really done this before, to where they need to go? What is the process for your firm for new hires, and what should our students be looking for in an accounting firm when they go out and interview with accounting firms?
Okay, Matt, that was a lot, but okay, I'm going to give it a shot. So first off, I am a partner with Soren McAdam in Redlands, California, officially as of January 1st of this year. That's been very fun. It's been a great tax season too.
Oh yeah.
As far as bringing in our new hires, students out of college, and bringing them along, we definitely recognize that classroom and client work are just not the same thing. The people will tell you that the learning curve in accounting is kind of steep when you start public accounting, and it's one of those things you really can't comprehend until you've done it, and then you look back and you're like, whoa. And it's funny now because you look back and you say, it's so hard to remember what I didn't know. So we do our best to support our new hires because it's in our best interest for them to succeed. Absolutely. So we personally have a week-long training program the first week that they're hired. So they're going to come in and we're going to work with a lot of different departments. A lot of it's getting used to just the software in general. And then once you have an idea of how to use the tools, the best way to go from there is to start doing the work, right? You probably looked at tax returns or learned different part of tax code in your first tax class, but just do it. Start doing it and you'll pick it a lot faster. That said, we would never hand you a project and say like, hey, see you tomorrow. Let me know how it goes. We definitely have different levels of people assigned to support our new hires, whether that's someone who's like a coach, which helps from things, not just technical questions, but how do I fill out my timesheet? Who do I talk to when I need to go to the doctor's appointment? Those types of things. So that's something a coach would help you with. And then we definitely have people in the office to help support on a technical side, right? If you have an issue with this software or this type of, an individual tax return, go talk to this person. If you're working on A&A, so our audit and assurance side, then you're usually working on a team. You have an assigned group of people and you know how to go to. So the first week is hands-on training, in the office, going over the details and a lot of paperwork. And to be honest, it's boring and you don't remember a lot of it, and that's okay. The rest of it is just, it's hands-on training. You get into the work and you learn as you go. And we actually hired 4 interns this past year, and they're doing it. It's been crazy with COVID, and they're in the office and there's not a whole lot of other people there with them, but it's going.
Great. So we've talked a lot today about opportunities, right? And the profession's changing rapidly. Maya, in your experience and what you hear out there in the field, where do you see the opportunities in public accounting in the next 10 to 20 years? How has it
10
changed
to 20 years.
How has it changed since you became a CPA or even graduated not that long ago?
I don't think the opportunities will change much. Maybe the field of opportunities will change, and there's going to be new opportunities that we can't even foresee right now with the rapid development of technology and auditing. But I don't think the opportunities are always going to be there. And I know there's a lot of fear, and I hear from students asking, our professors sometimes say that we will be replaced by robots. Well, yes, there could be some work done by robots, which is a very low level that you don't want to do anyway. You want to be getting the information from the robot so you can analyze it. So don't be fearful of anybody taking your job. That's just going to provide you more opportunities to do the advisory services, to do the analysis of the information that technology has extracted. So there's going to be a change in environment and change in how we do things possibly, but being a CPA will always have the same opportunities. Nothing has changed much since I graduated. The license itself has been always highly regarded, very valuable, and I don't think anytime soon that will change in 20 years.
Excellent. Katie, you talked a little bit about your training program in the COVID environment. How has training changed, and how do you see adapting to that in the future? Or are you hoping to get back in where people are back in the office and you can train one-on-one? What's your take on that?
I really hope we can get back to the office. That would be great. I just miss people in general, but I think the training just goes better in general. I talk a lot about the look, right? You're walking around the office and you can see someone sitting at their computer and they're kind of like, and you could tell from their face, like it's not clicking. They're not getting there. They're a little stuck. And when I can see it on their face, I can stop by and I can say, hey, what you working on? How's it going? What's it look like? And in a virtual environment, I don't really have that opportunity because I can't see anyone's face, right? They're at home in their pajamas like I usually am half the time. And so that's definitely been challenging. We'd love to get back into the office more. That said, I'm not sure we would ever go back 100% full time. I don't know if that'll happen, mostly because we love the flexibility. My daughter actually started preschool today and she said, Mommy, I want you to pick you up. And guess what? There I was. I got to pick her up. I was going to make that happen. And, the flexibility of working from home definitely helps that. And so for training, I think we definitely want to get back in person as we can. Through COVID, we made it work. I did our entire tax training module through Microsoft Teams, which functioned very much like Zoom, where basically I had people on a video and I shared my screen and we walked through the process. Was it ideal? No, it wasn't. But we made it work. And I think that's one of the great things about the accounting profession in general, right? Is we adapt, we're agile, we make it work, we figure it out. We're problem solvers, whether it's our own internal problems or for our clients. That's part of what we do. And so just make it work.
Okay, real quick, one last thing for Maya. Students take note of this. Maya, as the partner in charge of hiring at your firm, how important is networking with the students?
It's really important. It makes a huge difference if you make yourself visible. Definitely COVID has made things different, and visibility is not going to a networking event. It's not meeting with somebody over lunch or for coffee, but we find other ways. There have been virtual events where you can meet professionals. There's a lot of opportunities to network through LinkedIn. That's how we've been searching for our next great hires. I'm always looking for new connections with students. I'm looking for the content that they post on LinkedIn, how they're engaging with other professionals. And when you make yourself visible, the next time we have a hiring round, I'm going to look for the people that I know. That's just human nature. And another candidate might come along and they might be more qualified, but I already know your behavior. I know your pattern. I have met you. I feel comfortable with you. And most likely I'll get the job, give the job to somebody that I've known over a period of time versus somebody that I had just met. So network as much as you can. And don't forget, every single day you go to school, whether it's virtual or in person, it's a job opportunity and it's a networking event because you're networking with your professors, you're networking with your classmates who might have jobs already with accounting firms. And the first people we go to when we're hiring is who do we know from that school and who do they know? And are you a good student? And are you participating? Are you turning in your homework on time? These are the things that we ask our professors and other students.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And that brings up a really good point. This event today was a networking event. Those of you that failed to turn on your cameras, I'm sorry to say, but we didn't see your faces, but I guarantee you every professional here that's hiring scrolled the pictures to see who they see, and they will remember you at the next event. So in the future, if you're involved in a networking event, turn on your camera so that we can see you. We will remember who you are. I guarantee it. So with that said, I need to turn over the program to Amy from Becker. Amy has been a huge supporter of Cal State San Bernardino and all of the universities in CalCPA. And so, Amy, I am going to turn it over to you. Thank you guys so much. I enjoyed talking with all of you. Bye.
Thank you, Matt. Claudia, was there something that you wanted to add before I started with the raffles?
Yeah. Professor Wall is Cat.
I think you're cutting out a little bit, Claudia.
Here's really, can we share? Oh, for and so that they share with us as well before the raffle.
Okay, I think she sent me a chat message, so I think she wants me to share something. I'd just like to, I will follow up on some of the questions that Matt asked Katie and Maya. I can share with you guys that getting my CPA was one of the highlights of my life. I am a first generation college student. I passed the exam and they had in Texas, and they had this huge celebration for people who had passed the exam that year at the University of Texas campus. My whole family came, my aunts, my uncles. I was just so excited. And there was just no way I was ever going to let that lapse. But I did want to share with you, and I'm connecting that with who I am, because I am a CPA. I connect with being a CPA. I'm proud to be a CPA, but I'm just as proud to be a member of CalCPA. And anytime any of the national people meet me and they talk about it, I refer to the Inland Empire team as my family. I miss hanging out with Katie and Maya and Matt. They are my family. I'm from Texas, but I've lived here in California, and most of the people that I know is with CalCPA, and they're one of the reasons for my success. I would have never dreamed of being chair of CalCPA without my Inland Empire family. So I just kind of wanted to share that. Be proud of the choices that you make and capitalize on it. Hang out with them, network. I agree with everything they said, and take that license, take that exam, get that license, and hang on to it.
Thank you. And I want to echo everything that's been said. You know, CBA staff were wonderful. They took the students through the steps of what it takes to take the exam, to become licensed. The thing to remember, that's all on our website, and our people are available to guide you through. Nobody expects anybody to remember everything that we went through today, because it's a lot of information. The key, though, is the answers to many of these questions, heartfelt, very critical questions from the students, professors, faculty, and what some of the other guests had to offer. That information is crucial and isn't just something you're going to just pick up anywhere if you don't get out and socialize and network and do all those things. You can get the keys to taking the exam and getting the experience and everything. That will all happen. Our staff are there, you know, to help you with that. But take away from this, the value are some of the very last things that have been said and the answers to many of those questions. Thank you again for having the CBA. It is our pleasure to be here and to help you with everything. Thanks again.